Cathlene, it is so exciting to have you here on Influencer Magazine. Thank you for being a contributor.
I am so excited about this. So I know that it was a while back, you and I had numerous conversations about your vision about this magazine, and I knew it was going to happen at the right time in the right place, and all that and more. So I absolutely love it, and everybody else is going to as well.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. I see our connection's a little bit spotty, but yes, it did take some time to get off the ground, but I'm so excited to have you here and to have everything sort of about to burst. And I'm dying to hear all of your latest news. You've got so much going on.
So yes, I mean, this past year and a half has been a lot of amazing things that I have manifested in my life on purpose, because you know that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so I've had 3 books, and we just launched the teen edition of the 30-day self-perception makeover. So I actually have that one right here. And we are so excited. We had not only myself, I have a teen co-author because I'm not a teen any longer. So what we did was we took the 30-day self-perception makeover and we changed it up because we know it already works. And we had teens involved as to what's going on right now in the world with teens, so that we get them also to be able to create their lives on purpose and also a healthy self-perception. So that's the base of this, is if we can inspire as many teens and everybody else to get a healthy self-perception, it will absolutely change their life. Oh. So I've been doing that. And then amongst family and business and speaking places, I have a nonprofit that is called Hopeful Handbags. And what we do is we collect once loved handbags, we fill them with necessities and some makeup and things to make women feel amazing, and we donate them to women getting back on their feet again due to domestic violence or any other detrimental situation. And so it just raises hope, right? You and I have talked about that numerous times, manifesting, creating, and you have to be uplifted to do that. You have to be in a good place. So that's our hope with this, is to raise hope, but we also raise awareness that domestic violence happens everywhere. Yeah. No matter your socioeconomic background, no matter what it is, it happens everywhere. But there's help there, and it's free. There's free help out there and services for anybody. So yeah, we've spread to 8 states now in the U.S. We've started in the United Kingdom, Canada, and Barbados. And the thing I love about this is that everything that's collected, whether it be the amazing handbags or the fill or the money, anything that's donated stays in the community. So whatever community it's donated in, it stays there. Fantastic. And then we're able to fill more bags. So, you know, that probably takes about, as far as my business / if you separate out family and that probably takes about 60% of the nonprofit. But as far as time goes, but I love it. I absolutely love it. Meeting these people are amazing. And we're all about spreading hope and awareness. And actually, and then I'll stop talking about this for a minute, but I'm very passionate about it. We just started a pilot program so our corporate office is here where I live in St. Augustine, Florida. We have an office that was donated to us a couple miles away, and it's at a radio station, super cool place, WFOI. And what we are doing now is we are collecting once loved business attire, and we are having a place at the shelter itself in a closet, a locked closet, where when these women are ready to go on their job interviews, they can go in, pick out their outfit, like a boutique type place. Fantastic. And have that to go. We also have some businesses that are coming together to hire these women on as temporary. And then if it works out, to be able to make a career out of it. These are amazing businesses that are coming forward. So anyway, you know, I could go on and on about this all day.
This is amazing.
So sharing my, even, you know, sharing this with you and letting everybody know about this is passionate to me. And the magazine that you have, that I'm lucky enough to actually be in the first edition, and I am so excited about this. And I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming, and I knew it was coming at the right time for everybody involved. And you have done such an amazing job putting that together. It's just really a unique magazine that is over the top elegant, I guess is my word for it. It looks elegant and put together, and everybody's gonna love it.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I am so excited that you're working with teens and your handbag project. I think it's so amazing. And your pre-loved business goodies. And you are also a live radio host. You haven't spoken to us about that yet.
Right, yes. So I have my own radio show, and it's called Manifesting Magic in Your Everyday Life. And it's on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's in Northeast Florida. But the thing I love about it is anybody in the world can go on to staugustineradio.com and listen to it from anywhere in the world live. So we have people that listen from all over and upload those into podcast after they're put together for podcast use. And that way people, if they're sleeping, because I know I have some people that I know and that are followers that the time of day that I'm on is about 12 and 1 o'clock in the morning, their time. So yeah, so, and that is all about spreading hope as well. And what we do is we have a segment at the end of every show. It's about 15, 20 minutes where we go live on Facebook, and we talk about how you can manifest magic in your everyday life just by some small tweaks. Share some inspirational stories. We actually had the teens on, some of the teens that were involved in the book, so that they could talk about, seriously, like the things that have happened in their lives just from changing their self-perception and them realizing that they can manifest their lives on purpose are amazing. And they'll text or call me and say, oh my gosh, this happened. Can you believe it? And I say, yes, I do believe it. I know this was going to happen. So it's been just absolutely amazing. And the radio show's fun. I love to do it because too, just getting the word out, like you do with the magazine and like you're doing with everything you're doing, that you can manifest your life on purpose. And not every day is good. Some days really stink. But you know what? If we look at the good parts of them and we know the tricks to get out of our funk, however that works for you, then we can change it. Exactly. We can change it. And we can change everybody's lives around us in the process.
That's it. That's exactly it. I love it. I love your beautiful positive approach and the way that you do everything. Tell us some of the stories that the teens have come back with. Is there anything that stood out?
Okay, well, yeah. So Taylor, the girl that is the co-author is named Taylor. And I always have to say that because I have a daughter named Taylor as well, but it's a different Taylor. Yes. So Taylor's a popular name these days, I guess, with teens and 20s. So she went through the 30-day self-perception makeover. And then we went through the process of changing, go ahead and asking her what happens in this situation in teens' lives. Long story short, so since then, she has been accepted to the college that she wanted to go to, the very one she desired to go to. She has one of her dreams, we all have different dreams, in high school was to be part of the homecoming court so that you can possibly. So that has happened. She is on the homecoming court. She has had some amazing situations come her way, just opportunities open. Doors have opened just by her looking at things differently. Wow. And then, for instance, she had always just envisioned herself on stage doing something, but she was a very shy girl and wasn't really sure how this was going to happen. So she went through the 30-day self-perception makeover. She started changing what she thought of herself, right? Self-perception, what you think and feel of yourself. So now, since then, she's been in 2 shows on stage, and one was a musical, one was a play, and she has another one coming up at the end of the month. Let's see, another one, she had all these, she plays soccer. She wanted to scholarships for soccer for these schools. And she has had people approaching her now to write these essays. You know, we're really interested in you with a full scholarship in coming to our college. And their college, so this is real. I mean, this is real stuff. You know, you can't make this stuff up, you know? So, and I know, and you know, that we can manifest our life on purpose. And sometimes things the track we use to get there may be a little different than we envisioned, but the outcome will be better than we ever expected if we allow our flow to stay open. And we allow that, you know what, it may not be that color. Maybe I wanted a greenhouse and I got a white one. Well, you know what? How do I feel when I walk into that house? If I still, that's the perfect house. So those kind of things, and talking to the teens and helping them realize as well that bigger things take longer and you have to be patient and don't give up and go to the negative. Because that's something that us adults have a hard time with sometimes, and when teens are learning. So if anything comes out of this, which we've already changed so many teens' lives throughout the world, is that you do have control over this. And if they don't listen to it all the time, that's okay. At least they know that it's there. And as they grow older, they'll be like, okay, that's my intuition talking to me. I need to listen. So that's what this is all about. And yeah, the stories have been absolutely amazing. And I know, and more are coming out, but we could literally be here for hours if I told you everything that has been going on with it.
Amazing, amazing. And Cathlene, tell me something. What is your favorite manifesting tip? What is one that just you hug to your heart?
My favorite manifesting tip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My favorite manifesting tip is for everybody to realize they have to have, I call it a go-to vision.
Yes.
And we talk about it in both of the 30-day self-perception makeover books because it's key. Having something that gets you excited 100% of the time. Yes. It can be anything. It can be anything. So people that may have a spouse or a significant other or children, they may sometimes think that it has to be that. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be that. So it can be like, for me, I love to jet ski. And I use that example because I love to jet ski. So when I get on a jet ski and I go where it's salt water here, and I can taste the salt water, I can feel it, and I just feel so excited. So when I start to get into a funk, I get into that feeling place of being on that jet ski. So what that does is that raises my energy vibration and I start feeling a little bit better. And then I'll look at things differently. So my personal top tip is to always have a go-to vision, and you have to plan ahead for a go-to vision. So you need to think about your go-to vision now and know what it's going to be. Because when you're in the middle of funk, when you're just negative, you're not thinking of anything positive. So you have to have that in your back pocket to say, okay, here we go. Let's get into that place. And that helps open your flow to manifest the things that you desire.
So you set it as an anchor, as a trigger.
I say that, yes. So your go-to vision, if you start to get negative or feel like you're kind of getting down, then go to that go-to vision. Go to that little trick that you have in your back pocket. And then it will start raising your energy vibrations and opening your flow to start manifesting on purpose. That's the key.
Love it. I love it. And I love the fact that you're taking a real live experience that you enjoy, that gets you the feelings in the right place. And then you're going from there, which is wonderful. It's not just a dream or a vision. It's an actual, it's you in the flesh acting it out, right? It's a real memory.
Yes. And that's where the key comes. And that's super important because that's how you start retraining your subconscious mind, right? I'm all about everything being simple and being able to be used every day in your life, because we're all busy. We're all busy. And if I'm going to do something, I want it to be effective and I want it to help and I want it to work. So we do that. I also have a YouTube channel, and what we do, Denise Martinez Rossini is a numerologist, and I think numerology is just awesome. And so we talk about everyday ways that you can use numerology and the universe to be able to create the life that you desire, but by using the universe's energies that are going on that month. Yeah. So that's another thing that we put into play, and that works. If people are interested in that, it's so fun. It's just fun. And numerology, that's not my expertise, but it's Denise's. And then my expertise is the manifesting on purpose and self-perception. So we put that together so that we can actually help as many people as we can understand both sides of this. And if you've ever had a numerology reading, and no matter what you believe in, I'm telling you, it is spot on. It is always spot on. And it just blows me away every single time.
And Cathlene, tell me something amazing. I think numerology is absolutely incredible, by the way. And since I came in here, I have had repeated numbers, all the time. I'm getting doubles, or 6 of the same number, or it's just crazy. I'm laughing every day, I'm getting at least 4 or more a day. It's hilarious.
That's a good sign.
And it's fun, as you say. But listen, I wanted to ask you, you are also a personal trainer, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And tell us the link between that and your self-perception with manifesting. Tell us the link there.
Okay. So I'll tell you a quick little backstory. When I was 20, I went to teach just about every type of aerobics, personal training, because I had an eating disorder. I wanted to be healthy. I also wanted to join a gym, didn't have the money because I was a single mom of 2 kids. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to get trained. I'm going to get certified in all of these things. I can go to the gym and get in shape at the same time and stay healthy. Well, I already had 2 other jobs. I had a full-time job at the Mayo Clinic. I was a supervisor there, and I cleaned houses on the weekend. But I would do this after work and bring my kids with me, because they could stay in the little daycare, they could sit on the side. Anyway, so I started training people, obviously, and myself. And I was working on myself at that time. And that's the same time that I started realizing that everything that was happening in my life was happening on purpose. So if I was annoyed with something, that seemed to grow. If I was, really just annoyed with something at work, it would grow. But then on the other flip side of that, the things that I was excited about were like flourishing. And so I thought, the one thing that I'm not feeling good about right now is myself. I'm not feeling good about myself right now. So I started really consciously paying attention to everything I said to myself about myself. So when I would look in the mirror, the first thing I would always look at is, oh my gosh, like, why are my legs big? Or why does my nose look that way? Instead of saying, oh my gosh, like, your legs are allowing you to walk everywhere you need to go. And look at your eyes, like, the colors are awesome. So I started paying attention to that. So when I started to incorporate that into my training. So not only the aerobic classes that I teach, or kickboxing is still my favorite to teach and to take, just FYI, love kickboxing. But so then I would go train people at their homes as well that didn't want to go to the gym. I would do that in the evenings that I wasn't teaching. Anyway, so I started to incorporate that, and I would tell them, okay, so we need to not only work on your physical outside, we need to work on the insides, because it doesn't matter how amazing you look outside, because I looked awesome on the outside. Okay. I know I did. I mean, I was working out every day. I was eating healthy. Like I did, but I didn't feel great. So then that's when I was like, this doesn't matter what I look like on the outside, because I don't feel great at all. So I started to incorporate that. I did have some clients that said, you know what, my insides are fine. I do not need to work on my self-perception. And so we would just work on the outside. But I have been doing this now for 27 years. And so I have things to look back on. Those people that work on their self-perception, along with getting in physical shape,
Got a little glitch here.
Inside and outside, their physical body, and they're more abundant financially, more abundant in health, more abundant in joy. They're just all around happier people. So that's how it's related. And so even my daughter now, I have a daughter who is 25. I guess it runs in the genes. So she is a personal trainer now as well and teaches classes. And she's doing the same thing because she knows how important it is to work on the inside as well as it is the outside. So that's how that is, that's how that comes together, because really you can't have one and not the other and really feel good. And you know that because I know you teach.
And the thing is, you know, I think women are really tough on themselves about their physical appearance. You know, we're forever finding something that's not perfect. And that's where it all starts, doesn't it? It's a roller coaster.
It is. And if you don't have a healthy self-perception, that's why I say it's the base of everything. So if I walk out of my house and I already don't feel good about myself, I'm already putting out negative energy. I'm already blocking some flows that could come my way that could be amazing. So that it is the base of everything. So if you're walking out of your house and you're going to go to the gym to work out and you already feel horrible about yourself, or you've just criticized yourself in the mirror, then you're already starting out on a lower energy vibration. We got to raise that up. So start with you. Start with having a healthy self-perception, because your self-perception dictates the chances you take, the choices you make, the relationships, personal and professional, that you stay in, and the ones that you leave because you know this isn't right.
That's it. And if you don't have the confidence to hold a promotion or to hold the next level in your business, it's not going to happen.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And it also goes along with the handbags, the hopeful handbags. So hopeful handbags isn't just about the handbags. And by the way, it's hopeful, like F-U-L-L. So it's full of hope is how we spell it. So hopeful has 2 L's. But because self-perception, like I said, is the base of everything. And so these women and some men, there are some men that are abused and that get in detrimental situations, obviously. But that also, if you have a healthy self-perception and you're in a relationship that is not healthy, whether you're being abused mentally or physically, you know that right away, and you feel confident enough to say, you know what, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to do something about it. And in saying that, I know it's not easy to leave domestic violence relationships. I know it's not easy, but the one thing I do know is that every shelter around the world that I have talked to, which has been hundreds and hundreds of them, they all have counselors as well that's free. You can call and say, I want to come up with a plan. I am in this relationship. I'm scared. I don't know how to get out, but I know this is not right. They will help you come up with a safety plan so that you can stay safe, or your kids can stay safe, and come up with a plan so you can get out. So that's another part of hopeful handbags. That's how that's also related to self-perception. And I will say quickly, for me, you know, my mom grew up in an abusive household. My grandfather used to abuse my grandmother and the kid. So that's why my passion is there. I knew that this was going on because my mom had me when she was 15, and my dad was 17, and they're still together. They're amazing people, but we lived across the street from them. And I remember her sending her younger siblings that were my age to our house, and we would stand there at the chain link fence waiting for everything to kind of settle down. And then we would bring my grandmother to the emergency room. So there were just, so that's my and I know that my grandfather is looking down from heaven right now saying, keep doing what you're doing, because he knew at the end of his life that what he did was wrong. And he knew it because he had stopped drinking, and he knew this. But he also, I know, and we talked about it before he passed away, that, you know what, this is not okay anymore. It's never okay. So that's another reason where it inspires me to just keep going with this and spreading the word, but it's totally related to self-perception.
Completely, completely. And having come from a background, like you were saying, that had an eating disorder, you could see how much damage it was doing to yourself and to your life around you, right?
Absolutely.
Such
Yeah.
amazing work that you're doing, Kathleen. I really love it.
Well, thank you. You too. And I love that we can collaborate and come together and inspire and help more people, because like you, that's my goal. And that's your goal, is just because if the whole world if the whole world had a healthy self-perception, if the whole world realized that they are manifesting their life every single day, they're creating by what their reactions to things, the things that they're saying, the things that they're doing, this entire world would be a different place.
Very, very true. Very true. Very true. And as you say, if you can nip it in the bud. Kathleen,
that would be great.
Yeah. What has been your best business strategy? What changed things the most for you?
For me, number one, prioritizing, knowing that family always comes first and not spending too much time on things that are like busy work. Also realizing that if something starts to feel like it's not right, remembering that in professional life and business life, it's the same thing as in with your personal life. You have to stop, take a step back, and you might have to reprioritize things, because if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And I think all of us that have our own businesses, or even maybe you're in a corporate world, you've run across times where you feel like something's not right, and you have tried to push forward because that's what we're taught to do. You know, that's what society says. Keep going. There's a part of that, yes. You need to take inspired action. Not everything's going to be easy, but if your intuition is telling you it's not the right move to make, do not do it. Even I've had situations where they could be amazing opportunities, right? But it didn't feel right, not aligned with what I'm doing or what I believe in. And so I've learned to say no. Saying no is okay.
Yeah, that's your gut.
Yes. And you have to say no sometimes, because you can't do everything.
That's right. That's right. And to stay in flow, hey?
Absolutely. Yeah, stay in flow.
Kathleen, do you have a favorite quote for us? What's your favorite quote, an inspiration that
Yes. I always say, okay, never underestimate the power of hope. Because hope will get us over the hump. Sometimes if we feel like things aren't going right, we just need that little twinge of hope, and we're like, okay, we've got it now. We've got this.
That's very powerful. Very powerful. And
so what is a quote? What's a quote? I'm just thinking about this, and I want to ask you. So what is a quote that you think about, that inspires you every day?
I've got a whole bunch that I lean on, and I think one of the ones that's really showing up a lot at the moment is to be the magic. We often want magic around us, and we want special things to happen in the world, and just realizing that we can be that difference.
We can. And actually, I'm looking at this right now, which is sitting in front of me. It says, stay magical. See how that works? See how the universe works? This is one of the books that I write in. So stay magical. I love that one. We can be magic.
Tell me something, Kathleen. We are busy with a wonderful group of women, and we're busy completing our first books. And I wanted to know, did you self-publish, or do you have a publisher? Which route did you decide to go?
Okay. So I looked into this quite a bit, and I sent our book to many publishers, many agents, and we were accepted to some. I say we because obviously we have editors. I have people who have helped me get this book out there, right? You can't just do it by yourself. And what I ended up self-publishing. Reason is I knew, and everybody has their own reasons for what they do. But with the 30-day self-perception makeover books, we have courses that are created already that are going to be being released. We have events. And what I found out, which some of you may already know, that if you have a publisher, you have to okay everything with them in order to do those things. And you basically, yes, and you have to give up your rights to certain parts of things. And I wasn't willing to do that because it's not even about the money, because those of you who have published books know that it takes a lot of books to sell to make money, right? Because it's just your heart and soul is in it, and you got to print it and all of that. However, I have found this to work best for me because now I have control over it. And so when I decide to release my course, which is going to be in about 4 weeks, then the course is released. I don't have to get approval from anybody or have anybody from a publishing company say, I don't like this part. So that was my reasoning behind it. And like I said, I did a lot of research on it because I didn't know which way to go, but that was the deciding factor for me.
I think this is what I'm finding is that entrepreneurs prefer freedom. Entrepreneurs love to call their own shots and make their own decisions. And if suddenly they decide this is a better route, that's the way it happens, because we use our intuition. And yeah, I 100% hear you. I'm also favoring that route.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the books that you're publishing. So if you're going to publish, for instance, a biography about yourself, maybe that's a great one for a publisher, right? Because I mean, it's not like I don't know, maybe you can create something around that. I'm not sure. But for the most part, it's not like having a course or, a course on yourself, so I think that it just depends on what kind of book that you're putting out there. So there may be a situation where a publisher or an agent is the best route to go, just not in books that you can add things on unless you want them to be the ones. Now, there are some very successful authors out there who do put on courses. They put on all these things, and that's great. But I do know that they don't have total control over that.
And also, if you want to change anything in your self-publishing, you can do that multiple times. You don't have to wait for it to go through the whole red tape bit, hey?
That's absolutely true. That is absolutely true. That has been just amazing, I think. For me, it's been amazing to also learn. I'm the kind of person that I do have 2 people that help me. I have 2 assistants. However, I never delegate any job unless I know how to do it. So I always get training first on how to do stuff. So even with the books, I became very proficient at graphics and how to use Adobe InDesign, which is a platform you can use to publish, make publishing content. And so that's been fun. I will say it was a little frustrating here and there because they're tough programs to learn depending on how your brain works. But I feel excited that I actually know how to do this stuff now. If I do want to change something, if I do want to just do it myself, I know how to do it.
Fantastic. And let's have a look. Let's talk about goals for the future. What are your goals and visions for the future, Cathlene?
So my goal business-wise for the future is to put out a course for each of the books. We already have one complete. The second one's almost complete. So those will just take some time. Also within that, hold the events, which we're already working on, that will be with the courses. And we'll have other people speaking just to inspire others. So that is really my short-term business goal, and possibly long-term, I guess, too, right? With Hopeful Handbags, it's just to keep growing it and spreading the word that domestic violence is not okay, and that there's free help and support out there for people. So never feel like you don't have support. We are here. There are people all over the world that are there to help. And then personally, just to spend as much time with my family as I can. And I absolutely love that. And so I have, 2 grandchildren now, and they live in town, and I have 4 children, 2 of which are still at home. They are homeschooled. They're 13 and 15. And both my older ones are married. And like I said, one has 2 children. So that's really, and spend time with just my family, my husband, my kids. And it's working. I love doing it.
That's fantastic. So you've got quite a busy schedule, being a grandmother and a mother, and the radio and the handbags and books and teens, and there's a lot happening. Your course, it's been amazing, whirlwind, hey?
Yeah, it is. It does keep me very busy. But then, like we talked about a little while ago about the flow, and staying in flow. We also have to make sure that there's never such thing as absolute balance. I think that we have to have other areas in our life working so that we can spend more time in other areas. So with that, all of that going on, and my kids are homeschooled, so we're home. Everybody's home. My husband works from home. So it's great though, because we have flexibility and we can go and do anything, but you still have to keep that balance, because it's easy when, you have somebody telling you, we need a couple articles from you, or we need this, or we need that, to keep working and keep doing it. But I think I have pretty good boundaries, and that took a while to get. And it's gone up and down. There's been ebbs and flows of getting overwhelmed and saying, okay, time to take a step back again.
And I must say with you, you've got this unbelievable energy, this positive vibe, but at the same time, you've got this delightful inner quiet, this centeredness, which is really very powerful.
Last word that you said.
I was saying you've got this wonderful energy that allows things to happen. It's very vibrant, but at the same time, you've got this inner peace, this inner quiet that's incredibly powerful.
Yes. And I think I strive for that for everybody. That's my wish for everyone, is to know that you can be excited about things. You can have a great energy and an excited energy, because I feel like I'm outgoing and I do all that, but I feel peaceful with it. And the times that I don't feel peaceful, meaning if I start to feel that anxiousness coming up inside, I know I use that as my sign, because it is that it's time to take and reevaluate. What am I doing that's throwing that part off? Because to me, having that peace inside is key.
Absolutely.
And and by having peace inside as well, I mean, with a healthy self-perception, because you already don't have to worry about what you think and feel about you, it just takes some of that weight off. It takes some of that inner weight off of you to say, you know what, I'm good with me. So now I can, keep working on that, because it's on its autopilot, and just keep going. And that way we can trust our intuition. And when we feel those things, we do have the confidence to stop and say, okay, we need to reevaluate. Maybe I need to let that go for a while, or put it on the back burner. So that's another thing I think a lot of business and professionals struggle with, is to be able to accept that you may have a great idea and it's going to be successful, but it may not be the right time. So sometimes not that you have to quit, not that you have to not do it. You just have to put it on the back burner. That's going to come when it's right to come into your life, but it's just not the time yet. And that's something that I always listen to these days. There was a time in my past where I didn't, so I learned.
It's almost like a pregnancy, isn't it? There's time where there's conception, and then there's a whole lot of quiet growing that's got to go on in the darkness and the quiet places where no one can see anything happening.
You're absolutely right. I never thought about it that way, I think, because all of my pregnancies, I was sick every time, so I knew I was pregnant. But that's a whole nother story that actually also goes along with why I do what I do today, because that was just a tough time. And I did it 4 times. So, it was and I'll just mention quickly. So I had hyperemesis every single time. And I did nothing but get sick, and I was on IVs and in the hospital, and that's what I did on my pregnancies. So, but you're right. Typically, you have, well, you know, coming out of an eating disorder, I thought God was playing a joke on me, because I was like, okay, I'm not making myself get sick anymore. So why are you making me get sick? That's what I said. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to get sick. So anyway, that was that. But I learned a lot. And also I can, you know, when we go through things, we have empathy for people. We know what they're going through. And so for me, when I see women and they're pregnant and they have hyperemesis and they're just sick and they're having a hard time, I can totally relate. Like, oh, like I wouldn't have wished that on anybody the way that I felt when I was pregnant. So, yeah, I mean, we go through things so that we can help other people. I truly believe that.
Absolutely. And Cathlene, tell me something. I have one question, and I've got a couple of questions, but one is, if you suddenly came into $1 billion, what would you do with it?
You know, I would first make sure that everybody in my family, including my parents, were totally taken care of, so they wouldn't have to worry about anything for the rest of their life. Then I would make sure that the nonprofit was totally set and spread it out as much as I could, because I would have even more free time than I do right now. And I would be able to get out there and do that. And, you know, then I would probably go and live in different places for about 3 months at a time.
That sounds super fun. I like that. I like that.
It does.
And Cathlene, tell me, what do you believe about women?
About women in general?
Yes. What do you believe about women? You work with women a lot. So
I believe that they're amazing. I believe that they are amazing. Not only because I am one, but because we actually, not only can we create life inside of us, however, every woman, whether you've had children or not, you have an innate, you know, caring for others. You know, we really want to help. We really want to help. And I know that some men are that way. And I have 2 sons, so I think amazing things about guys as well. And I say that because my 2 sons are just so loving, and they're just such great people. And so I always believe when it comes to women that we all have our strengths, right? Women are amazing, absolutely. And we can rule the world. And I think that because we're great multitaskers, like we can multitask and get stuff done. So that is huge. And a lot of guys can't do that. And I think it's just innately born within us to be able to do this and that and get it done, and get it done amazingly. So that's another thing that I think about women. And I think guys have their own, they have strengths as well. And some of them are so caring that, you know, even with the domestic violence stuff, we have some gentlemen that are involved in that. There's a group here locally called MAD V, and it's Men Against Domestic Violence. And they're standing up for domestic and sexual violence so that guys come together and have them realize that this is not okay. And statistically, it's women that are abused, right? Some guys are, but statistically, a much higher number for women. So there are some amazing things about both sexes. And I know that wasn't your question, but it always comes to my mind when you say that, because I know some amazing men.
Absolutely. Yeah. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
I just feel so strongly that there is a whole flowering of women at the moment. And I think it's almost their day. You know, they've been in the dark for a long time, and I think they're coming to the fore. But that's not saying anything bad about men. It's just saying that women are starting to perhaps, you know, improve their self-perception.
Yes, and that goes with even, I mean, I keep bringing up domestic violence, but I talk to these women in the shelters, and these women, they have so many gifts. they have so many gifts to give to this world, but they have literally, figuratively been beaten down, and they don't have a healthy self-perception. They have no self-confidence. But seeing them rise up and start to like say, I can do this. There was one the other day that I just spoke with one of the advocates about, that she used to have her own business years ago, and then she got into this relationship. Anyway, she finally got out with her kids, and she's going to start her own business again. And they are helping her get back on her feet to get her certification again, to get qualified so she can have her own business again. Because these women, like you said, they're kind of, some of them have been sheltered for one reason or another, and they're coming out, you know, they're like, no, this is my time. This is my time.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic, fantastic. Cathlene, thank you so much for your time. It's been very magical having this time with you. And do let us know how it's going with your course, because I'd love to promote it for you, and also with your handbags. I'd love to be able to spread the word on that through Influencer Magazine.
I would love that as well. Just spreading that it's not okay, and that maybe somebody will want to start hopeful handbags in another local area. That would be awesome, so that we can keep spreading that hope. So yes, and thank you so much for having me. And congratulations on such an awesome magazine. I know that it takes a lot of time, work, sweat, tears, and love and hope and more things that go into creating something like that.
Thanks, Cathlene. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for all this wonderful inspiration that you've given us. And I know you're going to really have touched lives through this. And we wish you all the best. And we're going to be watching your career, watching your business, watching how you're moving on. And we will always be in touch and here on the sideline championing you on. You just let us know when there's something that you want us to promote. See?
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, darling. Cheers, hey.